Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of One Take. So, I stopped giving a shit about 10 years ago, and it made all the difference in the world. That's right, I did it and I said it just then. Now, before you start thinking that I just decided to become a selfish, self serving ass, or that I walk around every day singing It's Me Against the World like some reborn Tupac, let me explain a little bit. My reform, my change, if you will, was less about ignoring the world around me or focusing just on myself, but rather about how I fit in the world around me and how I could contribute to the world around me without worrying so much or even being ashamed, if you will, of what other people say or think. And studies have proven, study after study has proven that we are far more influenced by the thoughts and responses of other people than we give ourselves credit for, or even we want to credit to. Matter of fact, if you ask most people, or in most polls or most studies, people say they don't at all, and yet they do. Now, what I decided to do was take as fair an approach to the world, to life, to problems, to situations as possible, and make decisions and actions based upon that, not on what everyone else was saying or what anyone else would say. Now, how has this impacted my life in a couple different ways? Let me share. The first example is a personal one. I became part of this large friends group several years ago, and they had all been together since college. So by that time, it was a long time. And there was this one particular person in the group that was seemingly bitter about damn near everything, anything and everything that they didn't like or agree with. And everyone just tolerated it, even though it put sort of a stain and a burden, if you will, on darn near every event or interaction over the years that this person took part of. They would just say, it's Steve. It's just how he is. We all just deal with it. And I was like, no, I don't want to deal with it. And so I started pushing back a little bit, giving some feedback as positively as possible. And the dynamic changed. Now, I was the only one that did this. No one else did this. And I was, people kind of shunned upon it a little bit, but I stuck with it. And it made a vast change, at least for me. Maybe join me on next week's episode of One Take called I Talk Too Much. Who knows? Now, the second one is professionally. Now, typically we go through our days in group settings and things like that. Somebody comes up with an idea. If the group starts to agree with it, everyone starts to go, we just give the nice, pleasant nod. Oh, yeah, no, that's a great idea. Yeah, no, that's perfect. I started asking questions. I started questioning things. I started challenging the ideas. I started coming up with new ideas. Most of the time, where I was the only one that was supporting it or came up with it, I started to think outside of the box, which we all say, and yet we rarely do because everyone else is still inside the box. And we don't want to go against them. But it made a huge change for me professionally. And I've come up with great ideas and I've been a great contributor, or at least a contributor to a different line of thinking and thought that maybe drives something else or helps the group just think differently and we come to something else. Not that we absorb all my ideas. I'm awesome, but I'm not that perfect. Now, I recently read a book, it's right behind me, called The Courage to Be Disliked. It was a great book. And there were 2 points that really stuck out to me that kind of support the don't give a shit, stop giving a shit attitude. And the first one is a line. It's very simple. It says, you're the only one who cares what your hair looks like. And it's a very simple thing. And it's maybe a little odd right now. But what they're saying is that far too often we put so much value in what other people think or what we think they're thinking, when in actuality, you're really the only one that gives a shit about that, like how your hair looks. The second thing is about task management. And no, this isn't about some self help thing or some organizational study structure. It's about, it called it task. When you do something or you say something and someone disagrees with you or they have a problem with that, their disagreement or their problem is their task. It's on them. It's not on you. It is their weight to carry, not yours. So think about it and start giving yourself a break a little bit. Be a little easier on yourself. Hey, maybe stop giving a shit. It might help you too. This has been One Take. Make it a great day. Take care.